Hello, everyone. It's Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. And today is Friday, the 12th of August, 2022. Our topic today is the federal government is the problem. Click on the subscribe button here in the lower right if you'd like to subscribe, and also the notification bell in the far upper right to be notified when new episodes are released. So let me go ahead and just get into my monologue today, and then we'll proceed through some other ideas. The federal government is the problem. Although we may applaud several descriptors for the FBI Mar-a-Lago raid, ranging from banana republic behavior to hypocritical, the true problem is the federal government itself. Southerners recognized this in 1861. When they seceded to restrict the federal government to the powers enumerated in the 1789 Constitution, as it had been amended up to that time, meaning 1861. Although most academics argue that slavery was the only states' rights that Southerners wanted to defend, their claim reveals a one-sided perspective. States' rights and states' responsibilities are two sides of the same coin. The wording of the 10th Amendment did not reserve the rights enumerated in the Constitution to the state. Instead, it reserved the unenumerated powers to the states. To be specific, it starts, quote, "The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved for the states respectively or to the people," close quote. Antebellum Southerners consistently objected to the federal government's assumption of unenumerated powers. One example was federal spending on public works projects. The Confederate Constitution expressly stipulated that such projects were the responsibilities of the states respectively. For example, Georgia, not the Confederate government, built the Western and Atlantic Railroad between Chattanooga and Atlanta, where the great locomotive chase took place. Additionally, the federal government presumed authority to pay subsidies to private industry, even though no such power is enumerated in the USA Constitution. Consequently, the Confederate Constitution outlawed such subsidies. Similarly, the USA Constitution makes no mention of a power to adopt deterrence tariffs that benefit the economics of one region over the others. In response, the Confederate Constitution outlawed them. Moreover, the Confederate Constitution authorized taxes for only three purposes: military defense, government operating expenses, and debt repayments. In contrast, the USA Constitution had a giant loophole authorizing federal spending for the, quote, general welfare, close quote, of the people. Federal spending or federal taxation policies on most anything could be rationalized in a way to fit through the general welfare clause. That's how the Yankee Camel got his nose under the tent. Consider the Mar-a-Lago raid of today. Even if we do get specifics involving the FBI's justification for the warrant, we are relying on a corrupt federal system from Merrick Garland on down, or actually from the president on down, to assure us that it is not corrupt. Let me repeat that. If we wait for the specifics involving the justification for the warrant to search Mar-a-Lago, we are relying upon a federal system to assure us that it is not corrupt, that these specifics are not corrupted with other motives. So that's the problem. Can we rely on a corrupted system to assure us that it is not corrupt? Well, obviously not. Mar-a-Lago is just the latest of a long list of abuses showing that the federal government is drunk on its own power. Consider how they devalue our currency with reckless spending. Also consider how they give our money to dubious governments like the Ukraine that have a tradition of diverting such aid elsewhere and collecting a toll when doing so, apparently even when they are fighting for their national survival. Much of the money that we've shipped over there to Ukraine is just vanished. It's gone to corrupted officials that are selling it on the black market. Much of the money intended for the people that of Ukraine sticks to the fingers of the bureaucrats administering such aid. So, sure, we can vote for new senators and congressmen, but that's like trying to reform the mafia by putting a new crowd of gangsters in charge. Nothing will change because the problem is that the mafia was formed for the purpose of extorting money and making money illegally. That is the nature of the beast. Similarly, the federal government will never seek to limit its own powers. It is foolish to expect it to suddenly work better with a new gang of mobsters running it. Once power is fully centralized there, no more remedial options remain to the citizens because the states will have no power. Thus, if the power of the central government is to be limited, the initiative must come from the states. Axiomatically, if the states gain power, the central government loses it, and vice versa. Southern secession was just such an initiative, but it failed at an equivalent cost of 6 million soldier deaths when the losses are applied to the South's current population. A second option, authorized in Article 5 of the USA Constitution, the one we are living under now, is the formation of a convention of states to propose new amendments. Now, to date, all amendments that we have to our Constitution originated in Congress, but they could have originated in a convention of states. When 2/3 of the states meet in a convention, they are authorized to propose amendments to the Constitution. After 3/4 of the state legislatures approve those amendments, then they become part of the federal Constitution. Significantly, governors cannot veto the state legislatures on such votes. Presently, 19 states have voted for such a convention as proposed by the, quote, Convention of States Action, close quote. In six additional states, one chamber in each has approved the action. Should the combined chambers in those six vote for a convention, the Convention of States Action will have 25 of the 34 needed states to convene. Presently, 22 additional state legislatures have the resolution under consideration this year. The Convention of States Action proposal has three objectives. One, limit the power of the federal government. Two, impose fiscal restraints on that government. And that's important because without the fiscal restraints, that the result is inflation like we're getting now, and like we've experienced since most of 2022. And three, the Convention of States Action would require term limits on all officials elected to federal offices. Article 5 of the Constitution and the Convention of States Action Initiative suggests that your vote for representatives in your own state legislature may be more important than your vote for federal officers such as U.S. senators and U.S. congressmen. Your state legislature is the body that will determine whether your state supports or participates in a convention of states to limit federal power. So it gives thought to that. Now, it may be a new paradigm in voter initiatives and vote, power to the people. You may have to pursue power to the people by first getting the right people into the state legislature to get a convention of states started to get, and then get that convention to propose and get amendments to the USA Constitution that limit the federal power and improve the power of the states, and then finally get 3/4 of the states to approve those amendments. Bottom line is that your vote for state legislatures could be very important, particularly if you get them to focus on this Convention of States Action Committee. Okay, so I want to recommend one of my books, The Confederacy at Flood Tide, if you want to read a book about the period from June of 1862 to December of 1862, when the Confederacy came closest to winning its independence. This is the book for you. The Confederacy at Flood Tide by Philip Lee is the book you want, and it's $26 at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And if you want an autographed copy, it's $30 directly from me. Just email me, Phil, Phil _Lee, Leigh, at me.com, and we'll arrange to get you to pay for it, and I'll cover the shipping to get it returned to you or get it sent to you. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.